women's 100. And a good start for Shelly-Ann. Fraser Price. Thompson, hurrah! Richardson being left behind. And out in front, the Olympic champion does it again. 10 points.
Sha'Carri Richardson. She is certainly entertaining. I'm going to give her that. But the reality is she isn't even in the top 5 fastest women on earth. But the marketing around her has made her a household name for all the wrong reasons, in my opinion. I've been following her entire situation surrounding her and her past these past few months, from her failed drug test to missing the Olympics all the way to now, which is why this video is being made, when she came dead last in her race that she had last week. To the surprise of nobody who's been following the situation, when she came last, she has been clowned, mocked, ridiculed all over social media. Normally, I would say it's not nice to clown someone who tried their best. You know, she tried her best, but they still came in last. But Sha'Carri brought this on herself. She deserves everything she is getting. She has been unapologetically boastful about her running abilities ever since she qualified for the Olympics earlier this year. She's been telling everyone willing to listen to her that she is the next best thing in athletics and that she was going to come first at the Olympics and dethrone the Jamaicans, who typically dominate the 100 meters, 200 meters, and the relay. This is where all her problems begin. She was caught smoking the green stuff. Not sure if I can say that on YouTube, but yeah, she was caught smoking the green stuff. And that's a violation of the IOC rules, International Olympic Committee's rules, and was banned from the Olympics as a result. Her excuse for doing so was because her mother had recently passed away, which is a tragic situation for anyone. So I can sort of get where she's coming from. However, rules are rules. There are other ways to cope with loss, and her being an Olympic sprinter, she knew the rules well beforehand and decided to forego them. If the IOC decided to give her a pass on this, best believe there are going to be other Olympic athletes asking for the same treatment, and sooner or later the rules become null and void. The rules become a joke. Everyone goes through trials and tribulations. You're not special in that regard. And I'm sure there were several other Olympic athletes going through whatever it is that they were going through. But they didn't make excuses for it, and they didn't play the victim. They still went, attended the Olympics. Some of them won, some of them lost, some of them set records. They did what they had to do. She missed the Olympics as a result of smoking the green stuff, and as a result of her actions, she only has herself to blame. Now, when she was banned from the Olympics, she tried to play the victim and garner sympathy for causing her own problems, which baffled me. Seeing her all over social media and sports media, I'm like, but she did this to herself. Nobody told her to smoke. Yes, it was a tragic situation, but rules are rules. She broke the rules. This is the result. Actions have consequences. I say that so often on this channel. She said the Olympics would miss her as a result of her not being there, and that whoever won will know that they aren't real champions because they didn't race her. But to be honest, I completely forgot about Sha'Carri until I think maybe about 2 weeks ago, when she started running her mouth again, saying that she was going to win the August 21 race. So don't get me wrong. I have no issue with athletes talking trash and gassing themselves up. You don't become an elite athlete without having an ego and thinking highly of yourself. It's not bragging if you can back it up. But in Sha'Carri's case, she is all talk, no action. I'm nearly halfway through the video and I've not even mentioned the champion and the woman that is currently the fastest woman on the planet right now. A Jamaican woman named Elaine Thompson. She won both the 100 and 200 meter races whilst running one of the fastest times ever recorded in history. You rarely hear her speak that much to the media, as she is the opposite of Sha'Carri. She lets her actions do the talking. She has all the right to say out loud and boldly, I am the fastest woman on this planet. But she doesn't. She doesn't need to. She has people like me and others say that for her. The showdown we were all waiting for happened this past Sunday, August 21. Sha'Carri had been running her mouth for months, saying that she would win the race, going as far as posting on her Instagram account that she was going to smoke everyone and dominate a few days before the race. The hype for the race was real. Even before the race, Sha'Carri was playing to the crowd, looking very confident, whereas Elaine Thompson looked focused. Didn't do much other than just look at the finishing line and, be about her stuff. The race started and the results speak for themselves. Not only did Sha'Carri get smoked, she came dead last, 8th, 8 out of 8. I didn't expect her to win, but I was surprised that she came last, to be honest. Elaine Thompson won, again, and ran one of the fastest times ever at 10.54 seconds. And the Jamaicans dominated, taking first to third. Sha'Carri looked like she didn't even belong in the same sentence as Elaine. Elaine had every right to be offended that Sha'Carri thought that she could beat Elaine. You would think she would be humble after being absolutely destroyed, but nope. She was interviewed right after the race, which again doesn't make sense to me because most people rush over to interview the winner first, not the loser, and definitely not the person who came last. But she doubled down and said that she was proud of her performance, cap. She indirectly blamed her coming last on everything she was dealing with regarding the expulsion from the Olympics, and invited all the haters, like myself, to talk all the crap they want. Well, Sha'Carri, I'm going to take you on your invitation, and here I am. What made this interview better was that it looked like Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce was smiling as she walked by because of the ridiculousness of what Sha'Carri was saying. The memes and comment sections of her social media accounts have been truly entertaining to go through, as she is for once somewhat quiet for her due to her embarrassing performance, to the point she actually pulled out of the 200-meter race that was going to happen later on, because she knew she was absolutely going to be embarrassed even further. Where is Elaine Thompson in all of this? The woman who won the race and set one of the fastest times ever. Quiet. She was interviewed, very graceful in her victory, and we are the ones praising her and boasting on her behalf because she doesn't need to say it. When you're good at something, tell the people around you. When you're great at something, others will speak of your greatness for you. As I said before, I have no problem with athletes talking themselves up. You need to have an ego in sports. If you don't believe you can win, you've already lost before the race, match, whatever has started. However, there is a difference between confidence and delusion. Some of the biggest athletes in the world brag about their own greatness. Cristiano Ronaldo, Serena Williams, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and more are very vocal about their capabilities. Floyd Mayweather. LeBron James goes as far as dubbing himself the Chosen One, and he nicknamed himself King James. King. He is saying, I am on the mountaintop. The difference between them and Sha'Carri, they can actually back up their words with action. LeBron James has been leading the NBA for the past 10 to 12 years. He has been crowned the best player on earth several times. Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the best players to have ever played football. Serena Williams, one of the best tennis players ever. And the list goes on and on. These athletes are going to go down as some of the greatest sportsmen and women in history. They're multimillionaires and in some cases billionaires with such a reach that people who don't even follow sports know who they are. They have millions of haters, as greatness tends to attract haters, but they shut the haters up with what they do on the court. They let their actions shut the haters up. If you want to shut somebody up, beat them. It's not bragging if you can back it up. Sha'Carri, however, is all talk, and I hope she has learned valuable lessons throughout all this. But judging based on her social media after the race, she hasn't, and she will continue to be dragged online as a result. Maybe one day she might come and prove us all wrong, and the only way she can shut people like me and others up is if she goes on to win. But I'm always a big believer in history repeating itself, and the Jamaicans have won something crazy like 16 of the last 21 races, going as far back as the year 2000. And judging by the fact that number 1 to 3 was all Jamaican women last week, I highly doubt that's going to change anytime soon. And based on history, there's probably going to be another Jamaican woman coming over to take over from Elaine Thompson once she retires from the sport. But that's going to be it for today, everyone. Congratulations to Elaine Thompson and the Jamaican women who continue to dominate the sprinting game and let their actions speak for themselves instead of their mouths. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.